Cultivating good thoughts. Geronda. Do good thoughts come on their own, or do I have to cultivate them? You must cultivate them. Observe yourself, scrutinize yourself, and when the enemy sends you bad thoughts, try to expel them and replace them with good thoughts. When you struggle in this manner, the disposition of your soul will be cultivated and become positive and good. Then God, seeing your good disposition, will condescend to help you, and the evil thoughts will find no place in you to dwell. The evil thoughts will be expelled, and then you will naturally have good thoughts. You will acquire a habit toward what is good. Goodness itself will come into your heart, and then you will provide hospitality in your heart for Jesus Christ Himself. But this does not happen overnight. It takes time and a constant struggle for the soul to receive the crown of victory. Eventually the war will end for good, because such battles result from our disorderly inner state, which is exploited by the propaganda of the enemies. Geronda. Does this mean that those who have good thoughts have achieved the spiritual state of being through struggle? It depends. Some people have good thoughts from the start of their spiritual life, and can thus advance readily. Others, on the contrary, while they may have good thoughts at the beginning, later on are not careful and vigilant, and start to have bad thoughts. Others again have sinister thoughts at first, but by being carefully observant of themselves, and seeing how often they have fallen, lose their self-confidence and begin to have good and positive thoughts. Other people may have half good and half bad thoughts. Others have more good thoughts, while others may have more bad thoughts. For example, one who goes to become a monk, depending on the environment and the conditions under which he may have lived, will have both good and bad thoughts. He may have from 10 to 20% of bad thoughts, and even as much as 80%. But when he begins to do inner work, observing himself and dispelling the bad thoughts, he will cultivate good thoughts. Following this rule and effort, after a period of time, he will attain a state of having only good thoughts. The duration he had the bad thoughts in the world will determine the duration of the time required to dispel them. After that, gradually over time, even good thoughts stop coming and an emptiness is attained. Then he goes through a period when he has neither good nor bad thoughts. This phase brings a certain disquietude in the soul, and man begins to ask himself, what is happening? What happens? How? I had bad thoughts and they are gone. Good thoughts came. Now I have neither bad nor good thoughts. After this emptiness, the mind is filled with divine grace, and divine enlightenment comes. Geronda. What is the nature of this fullness? You cannot describe the brightness of the sun to someone who has not seen the stars. At least if one has seen the stars, you can describe to him something of the nature of the sun. Geronda. What can help us achieve this emptiness which you are speaking of? Spiritual study, unceasing prayer, silence, and ascetic discipline with Philorimo. A soul who earnestly takes on the struggle against bad thoughts can attain to a more advanced state than another soul who may have had hardly any bad thoughts. That is to say, at first, she may have had 90 bad thoughts and only 10 good ones. But because of her earnest struggle, she can achieve a better state than the other person who had 90 good thoughts and only 10 bad ones.